Hello everyone, this is Shining Noctiles, and tonight I'm bringing you guys a video that I feel like would be good to share. I know I've been doing a lot more videos now than I normally do, but I figure, this one was worth bringing up as far as, discussing about this particular topic. And I want to bring it up because just like I mentioned in my last video, really who someone is so much more than just what they may appear or what they may look like or how they may project themselves or at least one form of projection, so to say. And I really want to bring that home because I think a lot of people think that if you have blonde hair, blue eyes, and fair skin, or if you have dark hair, brown eyes, and a bit of darker skin, then you're somehow going to be, uh, I'm going to try to say how to say it, that you're somehow going to be two completely different people automatically, which really isn't the case because, as I said in my previous video, my past life, I felt like I did have blonde hair and blue eyes and fair or maybe fairer skin potentially. I'm not too sure about that. And this lifetime, I have dark hair, brown eyes, and just a slight change of skin tone, really. And I don't really see myself differently, whether I was in that form or in this form. And people have to understand that um, who you are is so much more than just what you look like because, again, in my past life, I don't feel like that people really, aside from me being a quote-unquote heretic, according to those, who unfortunately were um, intolerant at the time. Fortunately, that has changed ever since, which has been a good thing. Um, but other than that, I don't think I ever really had any questions that regarding who I was. But again, that's also a different time as well. And as I showed in my previous video, not all the Irish deities and gods and goddesses had pale, pasty blonde hair or red hair kind of a look. Some of them had dark hair or brown hair and different skin tones. And so the perception of those things may have also been different back then too. And I guess that's something I have to recognize to an extent. But nonetheless, the same thing still stands that just like for example Nuwada, there was an image of him. He had a darker skin tone and dark hair, or one form of Dagda, one form of Lu. That may have blonde hair, blue eyes. Uh, they're still, you know, both Celtic deep down, both having a Celtic heart. And people have to really understand that, like even from myself, that again, if I connected with like the Jewish or Indian or uh, Middle Eastern or Arabic identity, I would tell people so. And I would, because I actually really do enjoy learning about different cultures, and my mom actually did have some Jewish friends that, would invite us to Shabbos on Fridays. It's one of the celebrations that the Jewish people have every week. And they were always very kind to us, from what I remember. When we would go to their house, Uh, they essentially said if you want to sing with us, you can, and if not, that's fine. And they invited people of all backgrounds, whether you were pagan or atheist or I guess Hindu or Christian, or all different kinds of backgrounds. They were completely fine with it as long as you were respectful. And I think that's an important thing to recognize. And then as far as Indian and Middle Eastern or Arabic or just different cultures in the Middle East in general, I actually kind of find them quite fascinating in a way. At least, Indian food is really good for one, and I've met some Indian people with really good hearts, and that really meant well. And the same thing with people who are Middle Eastern or connect with that culture. I've met, people that connect with that culture that have good hearts as well. And so the premise is, I have nothing, there's nothing wrong if someone said those things in a uh, well, because I think it's a bit remiss or a bit presumptuous and I think Borge also mentioned this one time in his channel, Borge Andreas Bohansen, that he was essentially saying that, people think that because I have fair skin, a fair hair color, and I look a certain way, or quote unquote white, that I'm automatically going to be a racist, or I'm automatically going to be a certain way, or something to an effect, which is not true. Because to me, when I see Borge, I don't just see a person with fair skin, brown hair, a beard. Uh, I don't just see that. I see a man that has a good heart, that means well deep down. Of course, we're not all perfect. I mean, I'm not perfect myself, but I see a person with a good heart deep down, and and I love and who's very connected with his Norse pagan identity or kind of some may call it heritage, but I really think it's also just what he really connects with. And I think people have to understand that Borges, as an example, he really is more so than just this uh it's really nonsense really. But he's more than just what's on the surface. And that's for everyone really. Um and so people will have to really understand that again, who you are is really is who you are deep down. And because again, for example, not every person who is German, uh, and I prefer not to use this term, but I guess it's better to bring it up now. Not every German person you're going to meet is going to be a prejudice or is going to be prejudiced or be a Nazi, so to speak, or anti-Semitic, because the thing is that a person is so much more than just these terms, really. I've actually met a lot of German people that have good hearts, and uh, you know, and some of them have went through tragedies themselves in their life, and even have experienced, prejudice themselves. And at least in this lifetime, from my dad's side, I had, uh, his grandmother, her last name was Cleves, and that's a German last name. And so, for example, just because I have that ancestry of this lifetime, is that going to make me automatically, you know, racist or a Nazi or anti-Semitic or any of that? No, it doesn't. And people have to understand that who you are is what you really connect with. Because, for example, Even though I may have that ancestry this lifetime, I also have a fair bit of English ancestry, seemingly enough, which I've come to peace with, uh, or I guess Norman, so to speak. But who you are is really what you really connect with, or what you really identify yourself as. Because as an example, there are Africans who have moved to Ireland, and some of them were born and raised there. And some people question, are these people really Irish? And a lot, there are Irish, who do say yes, they are Irish because of who they are deep down, and that's what they identify as. And who's to say that they're not Irish just because they had an African ancestry, Because you have to understand too, like we are so much more than just this lifetime's ancestry, because you could have been a German one lifetime, you could have been a Native American another lifetime, you could have been a Japanese another lifetime, but really who you are, like if you still have that, like for example, let's say you're German, this lifetime, and you have a really strong connection with your Japanese culture, or your heart still, you still connect with that, then who's to say that you're not Japanese, or at least that you don't have a Japanese heart? And so that's what I try to tell people, is that um, 'cause some people also confuse what I say, and they say, "Oh, do you mean you're Irish?" And I say, "No, not exactly." Because back then, I felt like the Isles were more connected, and even though my past lifetime was an Eire, uh, you know, the Isles were more connected in a way, I believe. So no, I just tell them I have a Celtic heart, because that's who I really am deep down. Because yes, Ireland is part of who I am. The experiences there, is part of who I am, but so is Scotland, so is Wales, so is even the Americas, it's all part of who I am, and I think people really unfortunately sometimes misconstrue that. So, because I'm honestly fine, like if I went to Ada and I said I have a Celtic heart, and they said, oh, where were you born this lifetime? And I say America or the U.S., and they said, oh, are you Celtic American? And I'd be honestly fine with that, because, I was born in the U.S. this lifetime, and it's been a good home for me. And I have made a lot of good friends here and a lot of good connections. And even though it hasn't always been perfect, I do what I can to continue onward. So, but yeah, I'm fine with that. Or if someone, moved from Africa to Ireland and still wanted to be referred as an African Irish, that's fine. Because that's, if they connect with that culture, then that's fine. The only term I don't really like, because I think it's nonsense really, is the term Black Irish. Now, the reason why I don't like that term is because, well, first off, a lot of the Irish gods and goddesses, had dark hair, like Nuada, Morrigan, and so many others, as at least as one of the projections or forms, long before this nonsense about the Spanish Armada, or any of this hogwash, so to say. And I think that really it really has no place. It has no place. It makes no difference if someone has dark hair or blonde hair or brown hair or red hair. So I don't think this whole, because we don't call people blonde hair blonde Irish. We don't call people who have red hair red Irish, or people with brown hair or brunette Irish or brown Irish. No, they're just Irish, or they're Celtic. So this nonsense about separating people in two categories of having dark hair or lighter hair color is really nonsense. It really is. So And so like that's why I feel like that it's important to really speak up about that because I think people have, and that's why there's that misconception of, oh, the Irish, all of them just have pale skin and red hair and blonde hair. That's not true. And so that's why, there really has to be that untwisting of that kind uh, of that kind of a false misconception. But anyways, yeah, I just think that the reason why I shared an image of myself, in the thumbnail of the video is because, and it's funny because, Borge did a video about don't be afraid to grow out your beard. And I know for the longest time there were a lot of people who would, uh, pick on me because, when I would grow out my beard, they would say, "Oh, you look like a terrorist, or you look too Middle Eastern, or you look Jewish, or you look this, or you look that," usually in a negative connotation. And the thing is, like, um, I'm sure probably Boers and others have also been, they've probably also have had negative things hurled at them just because, they also decided to grow out their beard. Some people might try to call them a bum or hobo or, all that nonsense. And it really is nonsense. It really is because I like my beard. It's part of who I am. And just because I have a beard, that may give off the impression I am of a certain ethnicity or a certain culture, I think is very remiss and very presumptuous. And so because what are you gonna say, Morgan or Nuada? Are Middle Eastern or are Arabic or Indian because they look a certain way? That's nonsense. They're Celtic, they're Irish. That's what they connect with. Um, and so it's nonsense. It's nonsense. That's what it is. It really has no place. It has no place in the Celtic heart, or really in the hearts of others. Yeah. It's silly. It's silly. It's you know, it's yeah, it has no place. And what are you gonna say? For example, if a Norse god, had a darker skin tone and dark hair, are you gonna say he's no longer Norse? Because it's nonsense. It's nonsense. That's what it is. It has no place. It has no place. And and I'm sure probably even Borge would agree with that. Uh, 'Cause again, it's really who you are. I mean, again, like I've seen a video where there was a person from Mexico. He was Mexican, or he grew up there and identified with that culture. There was someone who said, "Oh, like," because I guess they thought he was German or something. "Oh, like, what do you think about those Mexicans?" And he's like, "Hold on, sir, I am a Mexican." And so that's the problem. That's the problem. There's no reason to really push that narrative. It's not really it's not necessary. Because again, if you connect with a certain culture and you identify as that culture, it's kind of like for me, it's kind of like, I have a lot of friends that are trans, and for me, they are who they are because they are a woman or a man deep down, even though other people can't see that, I know, some people may argue about that, and and that's for you to, to really work through, but they are who they are. They are. and I love them for who they are because they also at least for example, one of my deep connections and other my friends, they've loved and accepted me for who I am. And even though they're not perfect themselves, for the most part, they cared about me for who I am. And so I just think that, it really is unnecessary to really try to box people in, just because they have to look a certain way or be a certain way or follow a certain spiritual path. And boy, have I gotten a fair amount of people who try to pick a fight with me because I tell them I'm a Celtic pagan and not a Christian. But that's for them to decide, And I tell them that forgiveness is not exclusively a Christian concept because just like love and compassion and understanding and kindness, can be expressed of humans of all different backgrounds and cultures. So can forgiveness. So I don't I think it's just utter nonsense when I hear that stuff. But you just have to let them heal. You have to let them heal, and also just not carry that unnecessary hatred in your heart, and to really be strong and really understand that you are so much more than just what tries to hold you back. But anyways, that's all I wanted to share for now. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Uh, if you want to leave any respectful comments in the comment section below, you're more than allowed to do so. And other than that, I hope you all have a good rest of the evening. Slongafol. Bye for now. Bye for now. Take care.